All right. Welcome. Hi, Luis. How's your day today?
What's up, Noris? It's good. It's going well today.
Great. Great. What have you brought for us, or what have you brought for us to talk about today?
Yeah, something I've only recently started feeling kind of going on and professionally and like in my line of work is like imposter syndrome. I haven't never considered myself to feel that or experience that, but like I had a few experiences with clients that sort of triggered something. And I also attended a conference. And that also felt triggering in terms of like, what am I doing here? Do I belong here? Do I even know what I'm doing? Like I started really doubting myself, questioning myself. And those are all symptoms, right, of imposter syndrome. And so that's kind of got me through like got me down a rabbit hole. Like, I was like questioning myself and thinking all those things when I've never really had that. But it like hit hard like in a few days, within a short window. Um, and yeah, I think I wanted to bring that to the table and see how like maybe you can help me like get past that, get through this, because my partner also reminded me like I was expressing that. My partner reminded me like, look at all the things you have accomplished, and it's so easy to forget the things that yeah, like what I have done, what I have built. And just, for context, I'm a social media marketing consultant. I have a social media marketing agency. I work with small businesses. I work with city agencies. We create campaigns and content and strategies. And um, I had one session with a client that I felt like ambushed. Like him and his whole team were on this call. It was just a consultation, but they were asking all kinds of questions that I was prepared to answer for sure, but it felt ambushy. And then I started like doubting myself like in the moment, and I felt really insecure about my responses. The call was awkward after the ambush. And I say ambush because there were people on the call that I had no idea were listening in until they announced themselves like 20 minutes into the call. And it happened to be like his other marketing manager. And I'm like, well, if you already have a marketing manager, like what's going on here? It felt like a setup. It was not by any means, but those were like my initial response. That was my initial response. And then I attended a conference where basically every session was like, if you're not doing this, you're doing marketing wrong. Like if you're not incorporating this, like you don't know anything. And so um that wasn't really like it, but that's kind of what I took from it. And I just started questioning like my whole existence. I'm like, am I even a marketer? Like, am I even doing what like, you know what I mean? Like, I was just like, what am I? What am I doing? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Um, so I had to kind of walk down that cliff and be like, no, like, you have a legit business, you have clients that are very happy with the work you're doing, but nonetheless, like, those are still feelings I'm kind of sitting with.
Hmm. I hear you. I hear you. Especially with those two big events.
Yeah, and they were like within the week, and so yeah, I started questioning everything.
So, do you like some coaching on imposter syndrome and how it plays out in your work? Is that
I think that's kind of what yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
and why is this topic important to you right now?
I think also another thing I wrote down, and I don't know if it's related, but I think it might be worth mentioning is like, um making more money, charging my worth. I'm undercutting myself in a lot of areas just to get the client, and um it's just creating more work and more chaos in my work life. Um and sometimes I've been strong enough in the past where I've been able to let clients go. Be like, I'm sorry, like I'm not gonna be able to work with you. Um, but lately I've been like just saying yes to all because I think part of it too is I just got married, me and my partner are enmeshing our financials. We're first time filing taxes together. I see what he's making. Um, I see what I'm making, and like I'm trying to catch up, and it's kind of scrutinizing my financials in a way that I've never had to like scrutinize them. And putting pressure on me to want to make more. And I mean, it's a I feel like it's a natural inclination, but combined with the imposter syndrome, I feel like I'm also undercutting myself because I just want to take all the jobs I can, despite it not being like matching my what I should be charging, you know?
Yeah, here can they both could be
Yeah,
connected at some point.
connected.
Right? Yeah,
And I'm just laying it all out. Like I'm going
yeah.
through this is what I'm going through.
And thinking about both of them, one of them is making more money, and like we said, we're both can be interrelated, right? And imposter syndrome. They're both different. So which one would you want to explore right now?
Perhaps the imposter syndrome, because I feel like I've been sitting with that for a while.
And what about imposter syndrome, or what about what it's creating for you right now, or not creating for you? What about that is important to you in this moment?
I just don't like the feeling. I don't like doubting or questioning myself. It's creating it's just yeah, it's carving doubt. And I've never doubted my abilities to do the work I do. And I've never had these like sure, like I've had, thoughts and feelings of like being better, but never to the point where like I'm like literally like considering like quitting what I'm doing because and getting a job because like there's just a lot I feels like there's a lot of external pressure to advance in ways that I feel like I'm not advancing. Like I haven't I like I don't know how to put it into words, but like like I haven't gone to secondary. I've never got my master's. I never got an MBA. Like barely got my bachelor's. And I'm looking at my peers that are like teaching courses, that are like, speaking at conferences and like really taking their careers to the next level. And I'm sitting here with my business, like not doing any of those things and starting to feel like I'm not cut up for this.
And if today's session was a great session, how would you like to feel?
I'd like to work through these feelings and just kind of reframe my mindset to remind myself of what I am capable of instead of maybe magnifying what I'm not capable of or what I haven't accomplished.
And how will I know, or how will we know that we get to that goal by the end of today's session?
Um, I'll be happy. I don't, I don't know.
And how am I going to know? Will you let me know that you're happy?
I'll let you know that I'm happy. Yeah.
Great. Cool. So you're going to receive some coaching on imposter syndrome and maybe exploring other things that, come out of it.
Yeah.
Is today your first coaching session?
Yeah. Never had coaching before.
So- All right. So where should we begin?
I don't know. You tell me. Where should we start?
Where should we start? I know that you gave me a lot of context. Um, and now I'm just curious, what's top of mind right now? Where should we begin?
I think maybe with like the first things to come into mind is like, think of customer success stories, right? Like think of the work that I have done, like and the success that I have brought to my campaigns, to the work that I do to kind of offset the negative thoughts.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking about that. Is that a good place to start?
Yeah, let's explore. So in those campaigns, uh, do you sense the success stories? Is there any doubt or any thought of imposter syndrome that come up in those?
A little bit. A little bit, yeah. Like the campaigns that are I'm thinking about, I've run with the city and we've gotten great results. We've gotten the job done, deliverables. There's always that inclination of like there can always be more. We can always do more. So that's I think where I'm like struggling in just focusing on the positive, um but the work was good. The work was great. The work was delivered. The work was accomplished. We got praised for it. We got acknowledged for it. We've gotten renewed for it. And so, like, why isn't that enough?
Why isn't that enough?
Perhaps, like I said, I think it's always just kind of looking for ways to improve and in a way, it's kind of like self-sabotage, right? It's like, can we just see it for what it was? And it was a great campaign. We got renewed. Like, that should be enough. But it could have been more.
And when you seek these clients, is there a plan of more, or how do you work with goals, and how do you, I guess, your seal of approval, or when you turn in your work?
I guess the ultimate goal is for the client to be happy, right? We met our deliverables, we met or exceeded expectations. And I guess the real indicator would be like, are we continuing to do business together? Are we continuing to expand on the project or create new ones, right? Like that would be the ultimate measure of success for me, I think.
And did that happen?
With the successful one, yes.
Mhm.
Yes. And then so coupled in the mix with the imposter syndrome situation. So I had that conference that kind of backfired on me. And then I had the situation with that consultation that kind of felt ambushy. And then there was a third situation I didn't mention, but that's like still uh uncomfortable. I'm like sitting with it. Is like I was working with the client. There was miscommunication and ended up getting replaced. Like just saw their account, there was activity that I was not responsible for, and realized like, oh, I've straight up just been replaced. And that didn't feel good, right? And so those are that was another big one in that same time span, and felt like um yeah, that was like not a successful story, or like not a success story. So that didn't feel good. The situation, like I said, was just there was just a lot of miscommunication, and this client's kind of a rogue client and just kind of does things impulsively versus like the way I like to work is like with a set structure, plan, strategy. He wanted things now, he wanted things done fast, and like that just wasn't what I was able to deliver. So be it. But like something like that, right? Like that's not a successful story. And so that didn't feel good. Um
Can I ask something? May I ask?
mhm.
How do you vet your clients? Is everyone your client?
I think going back to what I was saying, right? Like right now, yeah, everyone's my client. Because I'm trying to just take paid opportunities where I can get them. And I'm not really there is no vetting process other than like there's a project, you have a budget, let's move forward.
So I know they mentioned that there is a way that you like to work, and it sounds like you are not working that way. How does that land?
It rings true to a certain degree. I have a like once we have a agreement on what we're doing, the plan starts, right? But I think on the other end, right, there's no system of like vetting a client or deciding if this is really going to be a fruitful partnership, right? Or is the client sane enough to like or compatible even to work with me or the way that I want to work, right? There is no I have not set anything up like that, and I feel like that needs to be the precursor. But I'm in that dilemma of like, well, if I say no, then there's a missed opportunity. But I'm realizing that that's probably not the best approach. It's not working out.
And a follow-up question. So since everyone is coming in right through the funnel, um, how do you set your goals once you I heard some communication in there. There was like some miscommunication with one of the clients. But what is your process once they're into, they're in your portfolio? Is there a process?
Yes.
And do all your clients follow that process?
Yeah. Once they're in, like we set the communication, we set the deliverable dates, we set the expectations, we share the information that needs to be shared on both accounts, both parties, and make progress as needed or as like the project timeline moves along. So yeah, there is.
And so what was different with this client?
With the one that replaced me,
Hmm.
he was rogue. He kind of just we had not set a date for a specific um, content shoot date, and I was waiting on him. He was waiting on me. Like I said, there was that miscommunication. And then next thing you know, he scheduled his own shoot date with his own different content team, and that was that.
I noticed your energy just kind of dropped.
Uh, yeah, just because again, it didn't feel good to like not even get like a message or like notice it, like a heads up. It was just like activity where I know I wasn't responsible for it, and it's just like, well, damn, like we were working towards something here. Um, and yeah, and then that's where I start questioning, right? Like just one bad experience can kind of dismantle the house in terms of like all the good things that I do or the good things I do accomplish, or the work that is um valuable. It kind of like tarnishes everything.
What would you have liked to have seen in that situation?
Um I guess putting it on me, like just having not had any holes for the communication to fall through. And I think I could have been better at that. In hindsight, being more clear. And if I had clarity, like to clear it up so that there was no room for misunderstanding or ambiguity. Hmm.
And I know that you put it on yourself, but is it in a relationship? How many parties are
Two, at least
there? Or more?
two plus. Yeah, no, like this guy's psycho. Like I think that's another thing I have to this is not being recorded right now. I'm just kidding. This guy's psycho. And again, knew that going in, had my hesitations, accepted the job anyway. Um, but yeah, he's just not fun to work with. And I'm not There is no scenario where I will work with him again. Um, this is the second time us working together, so it was good to like have that, because again, my measure of success is if we continue our partnerships, right? And so he was already difficult the first round, but we did a good job. Um, Despite the difficulties, it still was a good project. And here was the opportunity to do a different project with the same client, um and accepted it, but knowing I shouldn't have, because and I do this a lot where I'm like, I'll even I'll even say like, if I ever do this, remind me not to do it again. If I'm ever like, what present the situation, right? And I'm like, oh, I'm never doing this again. Remind me to never do it again. It comes up again and I do it again. Just to like test it out again, just to make sure that I'm sure that I never want to do it again. And this applies to like different things, like trying different foods, trying different restaurants. Like, I'm like, remind me never to try it again, never to do it again. Fast forward a month, 2 months later, I do it again. Just to double check.
What
But
do you think the world? What do you think the universe is trying to tell you then?
to listen to your gut, have conviction. Have conviction, and that's like overarching theme in my life. I'm a Libra. I'm very indecisive, and I always give things a second, third, fourth, fifth chance, and it always bites me in the ass. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know if it's valid to say like that's just how I am. But that's just how I am. And yeah, and I know that would shape things, a lot of different things up in my life, like just having conviction, being decisive, but it's just not in my nature.
And thinking of this as a business, right? Because we're talking about your business. What would happen if you continue to not have this conviction or executive decision making thing? Sounds like, you give people a lot of tries, a lot of tries, a lot of tries, and tries. Correct me if I'm wrong. Tries means money, right? Time and money.
Correct.
I'm thinking of that. What are the benefits of continuing to do this?
There's not many, I think the first thing that comes to mind with that question, right, is the statement of insanity. And it's like insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And I think I'm operating my business with insanity. Like, I'm doing the same things over and over, giving business owners or clients, multiple opportunities and chances, and operating my business in the same way, expecting different results. And it does not feel good to say that out loud. And it's like, I know these things, right? Like, I should know better, but yet again, I don't implement these changes or implement these things. So if I continue doing this, I don't see the business growing. And that's one of my pain points right now, is like, I'm not advancing the business. I'm not growing the way I want to. Sure, there's a paying client here, there's a paying client there, but it's not the caliber client I want to attain. It's not the caliber client I want to attract. It's not the ideal client I want to work with. Um, and so I need to make a change, right? I need to kind of understand that, like I said, that the definition of insanity is not the way to operate the business.
I'm mute. I'm gonna put you on mute, Marco. Um, wow. Thank you for sharing all that. That was great, I think. Just hearing you, speak, it reminds me of so many things of my own business journey.
Hmm.
Um, what are some things that you could do differently then?
There's a few things, right? I think saying no, and having a vetting process and really being more diligent about, more selective about who I work with, what projects I take on, what what I say yes to, um, and think more long term. I think more short term, right? Like, how am I going to get income in the bank now versus more long term strategy? And I feel like I'm making strides. Like I am looking toward. I just joined a course to learn how to diversify, right, your digital products, and so that is something I have put on the back burner for maybe 2 years. Not even lying. Because I know that I can't scale at the way that I'm at the rate that I'm going now, like working client to client. That's just not scalable when it's a team of one. I work with contractors, but I'm the only employee of my agency, and it's not scalable, right? In this model. So I know that there's needs to diversify, and I put it off for 2 years. I took action this month because, like I said, this month hit me hard with all of those different events that contributed to the imposter syndrome. And so that's one thing. I'm happy about that. The next thing is like actually implementing that. So I'll update you on that. But I'm feeling confident about it. So yeah, being selective, taking action on things that I know will advance the business, and saying no to what I know is a pattern that is not gonna be a fun project to work on, or a fun client, or a low paying client that I know I'm undercutting myself just for the temporary fix of short term income.
Are you learning anything about yourself in this process today?
I think it's like scratching the surface of things that I know about myself that don't face, for fear of there's fear, but I don't know what I'm scared of. So I think that's another thing to dwell on. Like, what am I scared of? Being successful? I think I'm scared of failure, and not being successful gets me failure, right? And so I think the underlying fear is fear of failing. And so there we go. Okay, I'm uncovering this. So if I am pivoting, doing the things that I know in my heart I need to change about me, and I fail, then I lost that time and I lost that money of the short term income, the short term fix, because I tried something new, which would be pivoting the business, being more selective about clients. And so that's the fear, is that if I change and it doesn't work, I'm back at square one.
And just as a reminder, you're really never back at square one. Failure is a learning process, right? Fail to success. My coach shared that quote with me.
What was that quote again?
Fail your way to success.
Yeah.
And so, if you were to do one thing, try it out, right? Um, what's that one thing that you can do to change an outcome, or, yeah.
There's a lot of things. If I were to do one thing, um, what would it be? I think I think it would be figuring out ways to diversify the business, right? Instead of just that like one-on-one project based moving project to project, how can I add more diversity in the products and services that I'm offering so that I can say no to more of the projects that I don't want to work on and not be afraid of there not being of like losing out on that income. Um, so yeah, I think focusing my efforts on the long-term success of the business and the long-term longevity with different products and services, which is what I'm one of the steps I took last week towards that. So sticking with it and actually putting it into action, that's one thing I can do to get me out of this funk.
Are you ready to make that move? I know you said that you started.
I did, yeah. I started it last Thursday. Yeah, last Thursday. And so I am ready. Yeah.
And you took my next. Well, I was going to ask you, what are things that you need to say no to?
Hmm.
You already started answering that question. Anything else that you need to say no to?
I think that like I don't know how you say no to thoughts, but like no to the thoughts that creep in of like, am I good enough? Am I worthy? Am I doing this right? Like all that doubt, you know, push it to the side because I know what I'm doing. Like it's just like say no to those thoughts. But that's easier said than done. Like I'm not sure how exactly I will do that, but that's definitely not serving me.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling better than when I came in. I feel like there's more clarity in what I need to do. Um, there is I feel like a breakthrough like with what I said about like my fear of failure is what is the biggest thing hindering my success or my what I, you know, moving me from where I am to where I want to be. It's my fear of failing at that. So that was a big breakthrough. I feel like that it's a big statement that I'm walking away with that I need to uh, overcome and kind of work out. And also uh, feeling like I know, like these are things I know, these are things I've known I need to work on. I feel like there's an accountability here, like meeting with you and like facing these things. 'Cause there's not excuses, right? They are excuses, but they're not like valid excuses. That's just how I am. I don't have conviction. I can't make decisions. I know those things. I need to face those things. I need to address those things. And this is kind of making me face them. Um,
It's beautiful to hear you say those things. I obviously only know what you bring to the table, even though I
mhm,
know you. But it's beautiful to see, to hear you say that there was a breakthrough, um, and a nice reminder that you know these things.
mhm, yeah.
So thank you so much for bringing this to the table. Um, would you like to? Do you have any words to close our session today?
Just thank you. I appreciate you creating the space for me to have this breakthrough and to like really kind of hold a mirror up and see what am I really working with here, and help me untangle thoughts and those insecurities that are holding me back, because I feel like I hold myself back. You are your biggest, um, I don't want to say enemy, but like you are your biggest, you are the thing that holds you back the most. It's not the people at the conference, it's not the psycho client, it's not, you know, all those external things. It's really me and the decisions that I make, whether or not to work with those people, whether or not to take those conferences for what they are, at face value, but really look at what I've accomplished and what I am capable of, and really sort of removing those external factors. And um, yeah, and being more responsible for what I can change. So thank you for walking me through this.
You're welcome. I can't wait to see here the next iteration, or however you want to
Yeah,
call it, your next wave of branching out, expanding your business.
stay tuned. Yeah, I'll follow up with you.